Hi everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to talk about Canada's Wonderland. It is such a favorite spot of mine when I was a kid, and I was so excited to take my son there. I'm just gonna chat about my experiences at Wonderland, and then I'm gonna try to add some videos or some pictures of us there at the end of this video. All right, so Wonderland is huge and crazy and busy and loud and overwhelming, but it can be so much fun too. Most people, if you're watching this in Ontario, especially in the GTA, have been to Canada's Wonderland. And it is absolutely doable with a kid on the spectrum. You just need to make sure you plan for your child, okay? So first of all, it's expensive. It is definitely expensive. And if you hope to go more than once a year, grab yourself a season's pass for your child and then use the access to entertainment card to get in free. So you basically, with the season's pass, you show the season pass at the gate and then you show your access to card and you get entry free. They may take a picture of you. They may scan your card. They may give you a stamp. It really depends on the person who's at the gate when you go in. We have been 5 times this summer, I think. 4 times. 3 of those times I took him. 2 of them were by myself with him. 1, my husband came with us, and then 1, my older son took him. So lots of use out of the season's pass, and we have plans to go at least 1 more, hopefully 2 more times this season. With just a regular red season's pass, it was just over $100, and we can do everything other than Halloween Haunt, which he's not old enough for, and their Winterfest, which I don't like the cold. He's not a huge fan of the cold, so it's not important for us to be able to do Halloween Haunt or Winterfest. So that's how we made it affordable for Wonderland. And then I make sure I have a backpack with snacks and lots of water bottles with us to make sure that if we're waiting in a line, he can get something to eat or drink without having to worry. He did pretty good with lines this year. There was a few times, especially nearing the end of the day, where it's getting hot and he's tired and whatever, and nobody really enjoys waiting in lines. But they do have what they call a boarding pass at Wonderland. When you go in the gate, if you take a right turn, there's a guest services office, and you can go in there and request a boarding pass for your child and then for your group. I haven't done it for him this year because we made sure we went when the ride lines weren't going to be too long, and because I knew we were going to get lots. If we didn't stay for a full day, it wasn't going to be the end of the world. The first time we went was also before school ended, so they open May long weekend, I believe, or just before May long weekend, and then they're open all the way through until Labor Day weekend. But after, I think it was like June 14th this year, that week, they opened so that you could go all week during the week, right? Not just on the weekends. So we went the first time right when they opened during the week before school let out. That way we could go when it wasn't going to be very crowded, and I could see how he was going to do. And he did great, so we kept going. So you want to make sure you have your boarding pass in line if you need it or want to try that. With the boarding pass, what they do is you go up the exit line, you get a time for returning to the ride. So the operator should be looking at the line, guesstimating how long it would take if you were to wait in that line, give you a time to come back, and then you would go back down the exit route. And then at that time, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, you come back up the exit, you give the paper to the operator at the ride, and then they let you on the next vehicle. I didn't do it with Nathan this year because I was concerned that once we got up to the ride on through the exit, he would want to go on it, and then he would be upset that we didn't go on at that time, and it would just be confusing for him. So I didn't do that with him this year. I may try it next year if we go, but right now we're looking at probably not doing a season's pass because we're going to have to go up by transit, and it's just going to be a pain in my butt. And it's a long trip. So, we also found that the dining plan was worth it if there was 2 adults and him. So when my husband and I went with him, it was worth it because we could get 2 different meals at a time. So we did 2 dining passes, and one of us would be on a ride with him. The other person would be off getting the food. So that worked for us, mainly because Nathan's safe foods at Wonderland is basically chicken fingers and fries and pizza. So this way we could get chicken fingers and fries for one of the meals and then something else. And then my husband and I would split that, or all 3 of us would split whatever it was that we had. So that worked out for us well. And then, yeah, it's just know your child. Like the last time we went, it was getting hot and he was getting cranky and it was really, really busy. I had wanted to go on one more ride with him. I wanted him to try the other roller coaster in the kids zone, Silver Streak, I think it's called. But he was getting cranky. He wasn't enjoying the lines anymore, and he was ready to go home. So we called it a day and we went, all right, you know what, buddy, that's fine. This ride is the last one. We'll get some water, we'll get some food, and then we'll get out. And that's what we did. So you have to read the cues of your child. Don't let them get to that overwhelmed spot if you can help it. Now, we can't always help it. Sometimes something else will happen and it will trigger it. I know we were waiting in line for Peanuts Racer. It's a silly ride where you just sit in a car and it goes around in like a racetrack loop, and it's not anything crazy. But he was sitting in line for that and it was taking forever. This other kid came along and was walking along the planter box there, and he touched Nathan to get him so he could stabilize himself. And yeah, Nathan was not happy. He came running to me, was upset, and that was okay. He did exactly what we've taught him to do if he gets upset with somebody else. But that could have gone a lot worse. He could have hit the kid or pushed him or whatever, and then we would have had an incident on our hands trying to deal with the parent and the other kid and him, and it just could have been very messy. But things happen, and hopefully if it does happen, the other parents are understanding, or in this situation, it would have been the other kid's fault for touching my kid first, but it wouldn't have been the situation at hand, right? If the other kid had fallen off the planter and gotten hurt because Nathan pushed him. Either way, doesn't matter. That turned out okay. But you have to be aware of the situations you're putting your children in and knowing the best way to deal with it if something happens, I think is the biggest part of being a parent in general, or be a parent of a child with special needs. So that was our Wonderland experience. He loves the big rides. So as soon as we also made sure I knew how tall he was before we went. And I prepped him for knowing which rides he could go on. So like he keeps looking at Leviathan. And I know he's not tall enough for that. So it's like, sorry, buddy, you're not tall enough for that yet. I'm not going to pat his shoes so he can ride it. It's not safe. So just making sure you set the expectations with your child so that they're not going to be disappointed and then throw a fit and make you uncomfortable and everybody else uncomfortable. Really, who cares about everyone else? Make you uncomfortable and make them upset because they can't go on the ride that they just saw that they really wanted to go to, and you let them wait in line for it just to find out they're not tall enough. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to try to put some videos or pictures or what have you at the end of this now. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Comment where else would you like some information on? Do you want me to talk about the Access 2 card more in depth? And hit the notification bell, get notified of all upcoming videos. I'm going to try to get videos up on Saturdays from now on as my regular scheduled day. And make sure you subscribe to this channel for all interesting things that we do. Alrighty, bye. Whoa!